Welcome to the Web Hosting Cat Podcast, brought to you by webhostingcat.com. Here's your host, Michael James.
Welcome to the program. On this edition of the Web Hosting Cat Podcast, find out which web hosting companies respond the fastest and the slowest to customer support requests via live chat. We'll also have a report on green web hosting, and our special guest from SiteGround, Hristo Panjarov, will give us some tips on how to speed up our websites so they run nice and fast. We'll get started right after this.
Turning to technology now, if you're thinking about creating a new website, you might find out that getting hosting for your site is going to put more of a dent in your wallet. According to the hosting review site webhostingcat.com, prices for web hosting plans are now actually increasing throughout the industry. However, by doing some diligent research, you can still find quality web hosting that is affordable. With so many choices available to consumers, it's more important than ever to make sure the features included in a web hosting plan match your website's requirements. For more information, visit webhostingcat.com.
Customer support is by far one of the most important factors to consider when choosing a web hosting company. It's always best to choose a web host that offers all types of support, including phone, email, a support ticket system, and a knowledge base. Additionally, one of the most popular support avenues these days is live chat support. Live chat offers the advantage of getting a faster response while you're working on other things on your computer. For the past few years, we've been conducting our test of web hosting online chat support systems to see which companies respond the fastest. As we've done in the past, in order to get a better overall picture of how each web hosting company performs, we tested during different times of the day, morning, afternoon, and at night. To see the complete results from our testing for 2015, I invite you to visit our website at webhostingcat.com. Here on the podcast, in the interest of time, we'll go over the top and bottom three web hosts in each testing period. First, a couple of obligatory disclaimers. It's entirely possible that your mileage may vary and your results could be different. However, as we've conducted a number of these tests, I can say that the results have been pretty consistent over time. That is, those web hosts that have done well in our testing pretty much have continued to do so over time. The other point I need to make is that response time, of course, is only part of the equation. Being able to solve your issue or answer your questions is just as important. But here again, I have to say that it's been my experience that those hosting companies that respond more quickly are usually also the most effective in resolving issues. That being said, here are our live chat support test results for 2015. Starting off in the morning, WP Engine came in at a surprising 3.88 second response time, which is pretty awesome. Coming in next was InMotion Hosting, which is not a surprise at all. They've always consistently been at the top. They responded in 7.1 seconds. And then in third place, we had Green Geeks at 8.45 seconds of response time. Very impressive. At the bottom of the list, IX or 9 Web Hosting came in at a disappointing 21 minutes and 5.12 seconds. And the bottom two, fortunately, have been disappointing of late. That's JustHost and Bluehost. Related companies here. JustHost came in at over 25 minutes and Bluehost took over 28 minutes to respond. So we'd like to see some improvement there. Moving to the afternoon, coming in first was Green Geeks at 6.18 seconds. InMotion Hosting was next at 7.37 seconds. And then coming in third was Web Hosting Hub at 9.38 seconds. So very impressive there. At the bottom of the list again, IX Web Hosting, 7 minutes, 8.85 seconds. Not as bad in the morning, but still one of the slower times in the afternoon. Then GoDaddy came in at over 17 minutes. And at the bottom of the list, JustHost again took over 26 minutes to respond. Now moving to the nighttime testing, coming in number 1 was InMotion Hosting at 8.1 seconds. Followed by Green Geeks at 8.18 seconds, and coming in third was Web Hosting Hub at 9.16 seconds. So again, same top three as the afternoon, but in a little different order there. At the bottom of the list, iPage took over 26 minutes to respond. They were very good at other times in the day, but at night, not as good. The bottom two were very disappointing in that they were unavailable for chat support at all, and that was Namecheap and Web Hosting Pad. Again, they had pretty decent times in the other testing periods. Namecheap did anyway, but they were not available at night, which again is not very good. So, taking everything into account, the best overall live chat support times for our 2015 testing, InMotion came in number one once again at 7.52 seconds, followed by Green Geeks at 7.6 seconds. WP Engine came in third overall at 12.4 seconds, and in fourth place SiteGround at 17.48 seconds. So very impressive there. Again, overall, top four would be InMotion Hosting, Green Geeks, WP Engine, and SiteGround. And again, for the complete results of our 2015 live chat support testing, visit our website at webhostingcat.com. Now, here's Melissa with our report on Green Web Hosting site. Now, these days, having a faster website is more important than ever. Besides keeping your visitors happy and not getting them frustrated enough to leave your site, a faster loading website can actually help you out when it comes to the search engines. My guest today knows all about speeding up websites and getting them to run more efficiently. From SiteGround Hosting, Hristo Panjarov joins us on the podcast. Hristo, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me here.
Let's just start out with a little bit about your background. What kind of cool stuff do you work on for SiteGround?
So I work on pretty much everything we make for our WordPress customers. Our latest and coolest tools are our staging tool that allows you to make quickly a copy for your website so you don't have to work on your live pages. And we have one of the most sophisticated caching system, our Super Cacher, which greatly improves the performance of your website. It's right now it's varnish based, and we've developed our own plugin to handle that for you, so you don't have to do any sort of server configuration or use another plugin. You just enable it, and it takes care of everything.
Mm-hmm. Now, while we're talking about web hosting, how much of a difference does web hosting really make in terms of your site speed?
Well, it does make a lot of difference. First of all, the very basic hosting infrastructure matters when it comes to speed, because if you haven't put enough effort to optimize your server communication, server configuration, your network, your data center, you won't be getting good speeds. And on top of that, providing people with just PHP and MySQL is not enough anymore. A quality web hosting provider should give you a nice caching mechanism like Nginx or Varnish, and tools that you can use to improve your website. Mm-hmm. A lot of those methods, like again reverse proxy caching, require a service, and the end user cannot use that if the hosting company doesn't provide it. So this is one of the things why your hosting account is really important about the speed of your website.
Mm-hmm. And I've just recently become a SiteGround customer, and I can attest that it's been very good so far. So really enjoyed it. Hristo Panjarov from SiteGround is my guest. Hristo, continuing with web service and reverse proxies. Can you talk a little bit about reverse proxies versus file caching? Is it similar? Is one better than the other? What would you recommend?
They work in a similar way. They both store the final output of your website in a cache, and then when the next visitor opens the same page, if that content is not changed, they will get the cached version of it instead of the fully dynamic one. So this way you're saving MySQL database requests, you're saving the work of the PHP service, and generally it makes your loading times faster. The difference is that the plugins that provide file caching they store that information on the server's hard drive, while reverse proxies store it in the server's memory. And furthermore, they work in front of the web server. So in that way, reverse proxies are way more sophisticated than the regular file caching. You get the information from the RAM, which is pretty much the fastest place you can get any info from. You don't cause any load to your PHP service, to your MySQL database, and your Apache or Nginx web server. So they're right now pretty much the most powerful tool you can have at your disposal to improve your performance.
Now, you mentioned databases. I know databases are another big issue where you can sometimes have bottlenecks. What are the best way to handle slow queries with your databases?
Well, first you need to monitor your slow queries, and the MySQL slow query log will point you to the reason for those queries. Probably you have an unoptimized plugin, or a piece of code that you have written in your functions PHP or somewhere else is not good enough. So there isn't one rule to fix all of those problems. It's just a way to figure out what causes the issue and then start troubleshooting it.
Hristo Panjar from SiteGround is our guest today. Hristo, now everybody says content is king, and obviously everybody's website needs to have compelling content. What are some of the ways we can optimize our page content so it gets loaded faster?
It's a great idea to spend some time to analyze how your visitors actually interact with your website. There are free tools out there, paid tools. On top of my mind is Crazy Egg, because I regularly use it for testing SiteGround and my personal websites. It has a free trial, and it provides you just include a small JavaScript to your site, and then it starts gathering information about how your users actually interact with your website. So, for example, there's a scroll map that shows you what percentage of your visitors scroll to the bottom of your page, and a heat map showing you where they are clicking. And if you can see that most of your visitors are not scrolling to the end of your content, maybe there's a good place to cut this page into multiple pages, or if that's your index, to lower the number of posts you have there. So my best advice here would be just to analyze how your visitors actually interact with your website and go from there.
And finally, getting down to the browser level, is there anything that can be done to optimize your individual browsers to make things faster?
There are few things you can do. Two of the most powerful ones are to leverage your browser caching, which pretty much tells your visitors' browsers how long to keep a local copy of different types of resources, like JavaScript files, CSS files. And if you know that you won't be changing those that often, you can set those to a higher values, like 1 month. So once your visitor loads your index, they will get those CSS and JavaScript files, and then every other page that relies on this very same files will be rendered much faster, because those will be already stored in their local hard drive, which is way faster than anything you can do in a web server. That's one thing. Another thing is to gzip compress your content. Basically how it works, it compresses the output of your WordPress site or other app site, and this way you transmit a compressed version of that data through the network. So the actual size of the files you're transferring is much lower than when your visitor gets that information, their browser decompresses it and renders it on their screen. So this process of decompressing a gzip file is almost instantaneous. And on the same time, you're saving a lot of precious purely networking time to move that data from one place to another.
Those are some great tips. He's the expert at SiteGround and getting your sites to run super fast. Hristo Punjab has been my guest today. Hristo, last question for me. Anything exciting coming down the pike at SiteGround?
We have a lot of cool things planned ahead. My advice would be to keep an eye on our blog. We just introduced our new cloud hosting platform. It's container-based, it's super fast, it's really, really scalable. You can literally move a slider and choose how many gigs of RAM you're going to use. You can set up things like if my website starts consuming that amount of resources, automatically scale. Our cloud hosting accounts are the new thing, and we are constantly working on adding new stuff, improving our service for the rest of the tiers we have.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay. And then go to siteground.com to check that out.
Yep.
Okay. That's Hristo Punjab, everyone. And my thanks again to Hristo for being our guest on the podcast. That's going to do it for this edition of the Web Hosting Cat podcast. For more information on any of the topics we covered on the program, visit our website at webhostingcat.com. And until next time, this is Michael James wishing you all the best in your website endeavors. Thanks for listening and take care.
You've been listening to the Web Hosting Cat podcast, sponsored by webhostingcat.com. The preceding program is copyrighted 2015 by TuxCat Media.